Hello, welcome to the Municipal Court product demonstration. Today we're going to be looking at the Municipal Court software. It's one of several applications that we have under the public sector. You can select just Municipal Court without getting the other law enforcement applications. We've got several Municipal Court clients that use just the courts, and the police department has a different application. However, if your police department would like to look at the integrated applications, we have that as well. So today we'll spend time looking at court. The way our menus are set up are things you do on a daily basis or under the daily tab. Things you do more of a periodic, your monthly reporting, sending files to collection agencies, those items are going to be under the periodic tab. We also have a separate tab for reports. We're going to take a look at these today, but the system keeps unlimited history. All of our reports you can email, you can put in Word, you can put in Excel. So if you like Microsoft, you're going to like the Assist software. Under inquiries, this is where you can search only, so you're not making changes to the record, and we'll take a look at the inquiries. And the very last option that we have is something called tables, and this is where you get your code set up. So we have an interactive process called our Go Live service that together with you we get your code set up and we train you on how to use the software. So let's get started. The first thing I thought we would do is take a look at where you would enter in your citations. Now, if you want to look for an existing one, all of these options are searchable. So if you know the name, the last name, maybe the vehicle license, driver's license, case or docket number, even the social, or you can even look up range of dates. So lots of options in searching the database, and they all support partial data entry. So if you know just a little bit, you can still search the database. What I thought we would do is look at a record. And a couple of key things. One is, if you look at the toolbar, this is like any other Microsoft product. So the navigation is identical. So the icons mean the same thing. You can also log a support call right in the software. You don't even have to call us. You simply just select help, and we know the application. It defaults the menu. Even the option within that menu, you can type a question and you can say call me or email me. It couldn't be any easier. Now, in addition to logging it within the software, you can also call us, and then we call you back. If you've got a quick question, we do have the ability that you can chat with support reps, so you can go to the support site and actually get into a chat. So lots of ways to get help on the system. What we're looking at here, this is the screen where you do the data entry, where you're entering in information from the citation. In my example, I've got one citation. Down here, I could have multiple violations, or I might be an agency that says one citation, one violation. We do make it easy to copy key information if that is the case. You're going to also be entering in the date, the time, the status. Anytime you see a drop-down field like this, these are your codes, so it's your terminology. Now, some of these fields are not required, like the actual location, but let's say the police department was using our software, that would be entered in, and it all flows to the court system. Now, if you look at the first tab, this is where we're tracking specific information on the violation. You might have some key things that need to be checked. We also can keep track of multiple parties on this violation. If you notice on my example, it's speeding 1 to 14 over. I've actually pulled that in from a table that I've already set up. So no more looking at charts. If the fee does change, you simply change it in one place, and then it'll be that going forward. But you could add other violations. Now, if I click on the Parties and Vehicle tab, notice how I've got a list here of where you would enter in directly from that ticket. And what you do is you can actually mirror this so that it matches identically, so it makes it quick to get it entered in. A couple of other fields we have, like commercial vehicle, commercial license, hazardous material. Those are usually important things to know if you're submitting a file to, let's say, the DPS. Now, this is where I tell the parties. The first thing that I would do is I would search to see if somebody has been added. And if you notice, I've got all these ways to search with sound X's to make sure that I don't get a duplicate. Let's say I do need to add somebody. I can quickly add that person right here, and they're going to be there going forward. So if the same person gets a speeding ticket every month, their name and address is in there once. Notice how you can even have attachments at the person level. So any documentation or pictures or mugshots, all of that information could be attached. So in my example, I've got my person. Now notice how we can also track the officer. We have something called an officer activity report so that we can pull out citations by officer within a time period, or maybe I want to do certain citations and get all the officers, but we do track that information. We also have user definable fields. So if there's special notes, maybe road conditions on the ticket, you can set up those fields as well. We do have unlimited text that you can type in the database. So if there are notations on the ticket, you can add it right here. Notice what summary does. We're pulling in, with this violation, you're going to have fees and costs. So that's all set up. We break it all out. If you do add our financials, it creates a journal entry. So all that accounting follows to the integrated fund accounting system we have. And if you don't, we certainly have reports that you could do entries into your existing financials. If there have been any payments, I'm going to know that. I can even print a receipt here. I can even have an attachment. So any type of electronic file can be attached, maybe the actual physical ticket. So it's very easy to add new attachments. You know visually there are, so it's like an electronic file for this record. So if you notice, we haven't left this screen yet. I can also go on to process the court information. So, if you're processing different courts, juvenile, criminal, or adults, we've got that. You've got information on the speed, the fine. Once again, you've got a drop down for the action. Now, notice how it's got the fees and costs, so if there's any changes, you can make that here, but it brings in the accounting. We also have the ability, I'm sure if you're like most courts, if you can set up a payment plan. And we've got different options to set those up so that you're going to get warnings if they don't come in and make a payment. You're going to have reports to know what's left to be paid. So you've got that information. Bonds, we allow you to track different types, and it'll do the accounting for you. On the warrants, you can create any type of warrant, notice, or letter. And we actually use Microsoft Word as the report writer. So it actually, or the letter generator, it creates the documents, and the system merges in information right into that Word document. So if I did want to create a document, I could do it right here, and I simply pick which document and which party. So it does a mail merge. From this menu, you can also do labels and jacket labels. Now, on the disposition, once again, these are your codes. So if you need to add a new code, it's really simple to do. We're going to keep track of the specific court, who the judge is, the arraignment date, if it is a trial, and if so, what type. On the docket number, you can add it yourself, or you can have the system generate that for you. You can have different pleas. Once again, these are your codes. And the sentence. We also even keep track of community service. So, or if somebody decides to stay in jail versus pay the fine, the system will account for that as well. We also do a lot with something called actions. And there are some key things. If certain things happen, the system will automatically create an action. Maybe the payment was refunded, maybe you made a payment, or the plea changed, or a letter was sent. So lots of things that will create automatic actions, or if they failed to appear. But you can also create your own, and you've got unlimited text to describe it. You've even got unlimited text on the reference number. So gives you an easy way to document all those key things that happen during the court processing. We also have the ability to put key events on a calendar, and you get to define what those might be. Maybe this guy's going to driver's school, so you can put it on the calendar, you can put notes, but I can pull a calendar based on what's going on today, or I could do it by event. So lots of ways to manage your day. And like I said, you can also do unlimited notes. So the nice thing is we've been able to enter in everything on these screens without having to leave it. Now let's say you're one of those organizations and the police officers have a ticket writer. We've got several that we work with, and it just brings in everything that happens in the car and it updates the database. So you would not be entering in that first information on the citation. It comes in electronically. So, but this is where you start most of our courts. They start with a stack of tickets, and that's where you get the data entered in. So now let's go out and look at some other things. Let's take a look at making a payment. My guess is you've got lots of customers coming in making payments. If they don't have their citation or ticket number, you can look them up. Once again, all those different sound X's. Now, it brings in the balance. This is going to print a receipt for you. We can do partial payments. You can have it automatically apply. It prints a receipt, but you handle the money once. So all the court transactions can happen in the court application. We also have a point of sale that if your municipality also receipts for utility bills and business license and other things, the court payment could be processed through that system as well. But if you are using just the courts, you can get those payments entered in here. Now, you can also batch in payments. My guess is you get a lot of checks in the mail, and you can very quickly batch in, 20, 30 checks and post it right to their account. So that happens right here. Now, we have a lot of customers that they want to add a button on their website. So your customers can go to your website. When they select make a payment, it takes them right here. And they're able to process court payments, but other ones as well. So let's say I want to do a court payment. I enter my citation, and I'm going to enter in my name. And let's say it's a $100 citation. Notice what happens. It calculates a convenience fee. You collect 100% of the 100. The customers pay the convenience, but you're going to get the integration. And the timing is, what you'll do in the software is you'll simply run this process, and it kind of goes up to the internet, checks your mail, and posts the payments. So if I post, let's say, $1,000 today, tomorrow I'm going to have a direct deposit that's going to equal that batch of payments. So it's the timing is the next day, the customers do the data entry for, and it's completely integrated. So that's what you might do under daily. Now, if you notice, we do have a report to post those payments to the general ledger. So once again, if you've got mine, it sends that over, or it's a report so that you can do journal entries. Let's take a look at some things that you might do periodically. One is you might need to do a refund or forfeit a cash bond, or you might have a situation where you need to reverse a payment. Maybe the check bounced, or maybe you accidentally put it to the wrong one. But this is the option where it's going to put the charge back out there, and so that it's going to reverse that payment. Now, other things you might do here, one is we have a lot of customers that use ticket writers, so we can bring in that file. We also have a lot of customers that send a file to a collection agency. So we've got several formats that you can pick and choose from, and we can always add new ones. Now, under the reports, these all come standard. We do work with a lot of states and do the state reporting, but on all of our reports, you can run it by court. You can do it for a point in time. So if I want to see all the citations for the last 2 years, I could do that. Or maybe just one day 5 years ago. I can also decide how do I want that to print. But on all of our reports, you can print them to the screen, and you don't even have to print it. You can also email all of our reports. So you simply just say send, and it'll attach it and email it. All of our reports can also go to Word and Excel. So once again, if you like Microsoft, you're going to love Assist because it's tightly integrated. I could simply just say Word, and it's going to take that and launch Word, and I'm in Word right now. I could have done the same thing with Excel. And like I said, this is true for all the reports. We also have a report of monthly convictions. We've got a monthly report that you can pick and choose where it tallies up all the different items that you've entered in. I've got a disposition docket that I can run once again for any date range and get a listing by defendant, case or docket number, and I've got the disposition, I've got the plea, and it breaks out the fines, costs, and fees. So lots of reports. I can also run a report once again for any point in time and see what payments I've entered in. And notice how it's going to break out and subtotal all the charge codes. Down below you're going to get totals for the fees and fines, and you're going to even know if it's check, cash, money order, credit card, so it'll group that together. So this would be a report you could easily run to do your deposit. Now we do create a warrant list. Let's say somebody has a warrant. If they come in and try to make a payment or you look them up, there's going to be a warning that there's an existing warrant. I can also pull out reports for any date range on the fines, the fees, and the costs. I can do it in detail, which would tell me specific customers, or summary where it just counts the numbers. So I'm going to do this in detail, and once again, your charge codes will be different, but you're going to be able to subtotal by each individual one. So you've got the number and then the total. So, but you've got the detail on the customer. So any transaction you're going to be able to easily report and see how many of these and how many of those in the database, because we don't lose the history. So I can also run this failure to appear. Let's say I run the report and I've got 4 people on the list. The system's going to create actions that they didn't appear so that you can send that group a letter. We also have court lists and trial lists. We have an officer activity report, and I mentioned this earlier, but you can pull out in detail within a time period a certain violation or for a certain officer. So depending on what you're looking at for, the report might look different if you're looking for a certain officer, all violations, or maybe you're wanting to count the number of violations and break it down by officer, but it's all within a point in time. So once again, payment plan. If I run this report, I can see, you know, who do I have out there, when are they due to come in, how much is it, and what the balance is. You're going to always know what they owe you, so you've got that information. And if they don't come in, you can send a letter. We can also pull reports by calendar. So I could say, show me everything this week or today. I could even say, give me all of my driving school irregardless of when it is, things that are open. So I can pull out reports for certain categories or status within time period. Now on the group letters, you saw how we could do an individual letter, which is a mail merge with Word, but we can do letters to a group. I might want to send a letter to everybody that has an action of driver's school or failed to appear. Or I might want to send a letter to everybody that has a balance. So depending on what the situation is, I can send group letters, and once again that letter is a Microsoft Word letter, and we simply just do a mail merge. We also create the racial profiling report, so that's included in the courts. Now on the inquiries, if you look here, this is look only, so you could give access to maybe others staff, and they can look things up but they can't change. That's the big difference. So you can lock it down where staff can just look. Now tables, this is where you get started, but there's lots of flexibility in setting up your unique codes, what your fee structure is. It's simple to change it, but that's all covered in that go live. So with the courts, you would have the municipal court, and then you would also have the master name, which is where you're adding your people. We looked before and we didn't add somebody, but if I wanted to look up somebody, I'm going to be able to see all their information and all their involvement. So if you're using just courts, you'll see all their citations, or if the police start using it for other things, you're going to know if it's a witness or what the situation is, but all the records are pulled together, and you've got you know, if their name changes or any specific information, but you can do attachments, and on any one of these you can drill down and see the an inquiry of the event and see that information. So I could even see the attachment. So that concludes the municipal court demonstration. If you'd like to see a live demo, let us know. We can certainly set up a time to look at some of the other public safety, or we also have 30 integrated applications. So we do financials, we do utility billing, we do building permits, code enforcement. So our goal is to be able to automate every department within your municipality. But thank you so much for attending.